A common question in Word would be, what is the distance or the spacing between each paragraph? Okay, and if you were to open the dialog box, and at the moment we have the after spacing to 10 and the before to 0. So let's just select all three paragraphs and we change the beginning to the before to 5 and the after to 5 points. Okay, and then we click OK. Now they ask you, what is the paragraph spacing? What is the spacing between around each paragraph? If you think critically, you would come up with an answer which is very interesting. So look at the dialog box. Okay, before and after is 5 points. So what that is, what that means is that the spacing around each paragraph is 10 in total, 10 points, because before is 5, after is also 5. So around would be 10, because remember before, after this paragraph and before each paragraph there is 5 points. So paragraph spacing is 10 points. Paragraph spacing. And we can change the line spacing to single, and you can see the difference between each of the types of line spacing, like multiple, exactly, and single. I don't think there's a bit of a thing about the types of line spacing you have. Okay, I don't think you'll really need that, but if you do, you can try the different options of line spacing and modify the magnitude of the line spacing between them. Okay, other than that, it doesn't really matter, but if it does matter to you, then let me know. And you can, if you want to explore the other types of line spacing, then you can look for other YouTube videos. But if you want me to explain, then let me know in the comments and I'll make a video about it. Now we move on to the next feature, which is the shading command. Shading and borders. Okay, shading would be something like coloring in the paragraph, the background of the paragraph. You can understand it as that. Now this paragraph is shaded yellow. We can shade it orange. We can shade it blue. It must just be something that is readable. Okay, and to shade something you need um you need to shade it in order to make it stand out. Or yeah. So we just shaded these three paragraphs, so now it looks like a very engaging document, very pleasing to the eyes. Yeah, like a kid's book. Okay, and now the difference between highlighting and shading, let's explore that. Shading is applied to the entire paragraph, whereas highlighting is applied to the line. I mean, you can see this the difference between the highlighting and the shading. You can see the shading, there are no white spaces between each line, unlike highlighting, where you can see clearly the um, white lines, which pretty much does indicate some sort of line spacing between um, each line. All right, whereas shading is used to um, color the paragraph. Okay, so there is no white spaces between each line. And also another difference would be that highlighting is a bit brighter and shading is a bit more um, variety of colors, okay, compared to highlighting. And their highlighting is too bright. Then you have borders, which I'm doing currently now. I'm adding a border to the second paragraph, and you see this line, this black line that appears. Okay, what I did is actually not to the I did to the I applied it to the third paragraph, not the second one. Okay, so you have different options, different border types. You have bottom border, top, you have all borders and no border, outside borders, inside horizontal. Let me demonstrate the types of borders using a table. Alright, so the way you would be inserting a table in MS Word would be by going to the Insert tab and choosing a table. Don't worry too much about this because we're gonna come to this soon. Okay, but just focus on the borders. So now what you see the table basically, okay, it shows these cross signs. So just switch show and hide off. Now you see um, these lines in the table. Now those are borders. Okay, all borders. Okay, it's the table is set to all borders. So if you choose all borders, everything is selected except the horizontal, diagonal. Not horizontal, the diagonal borders. So if I deselect all borders, you see that there's a dashed line which indicates that there's the table cannot be seen. I now there's only outside borders because I selected it, and there's a dashed line inside. Okay, which means that you cannot see when you print this table. Okay, now if I enter text, okay, in these cells, now I go to print preview, okay, to see how my document would look when it's printed. Okay, take note in this preview that you don't see the lines inside the table, only the lines outside the table. Okay, now that means that the dashed lines you saw before, okay, that you wouldn't be able to see. So this is only an outside border. We have outside borders applied to this table. Okay, and now we have all borders. Now we go to print preview and we see that it looks like a regular table with lines outside, around, and inside as well. Now that is the difference between all borders and outside borders. And the same, let's just delete this table first, get rid of it. Okay, right. Okay, so the same applies to the paragraph. So if you want more information or more options with regards to borders and shading, then you can go to this command here, right, called borders and shading, and you have this dialog box that appears with different settings of borders. And make sure this is checked to apply to paragraph and not apply to page or apply to section or anything else. Okay, only to paragraph. Okay, then go to the borders tab, not the page borders tab like I did right now, or to the shading tab. Actually, you can go to the shading, it applies as long as it applies to the paragraph, not to something else like the page. Okay, then you can choose your colors and you can choose your style. Okay, let I'm choosing different styles, and you can see the difference in the preview. Okay, let me choose a nice one and show you how it looks. Okay, that's how it looks, the style. Okay, it doesn't look very readable or presentable, so actually I opened the wrong dialog box. Let's go back to the borders and shading and go to shading, style, and set it back to clear. And color is of course automatic because it's clear, and we can change the color like that. If it's not clear, the style isn't clear. Okay, let's change the color to blue and you can see it's slightly bluer. Then there's different types of styles, okay, with regards to borders. Okay, now setting of box would mean completely around. Then you have setting of custom, okay, where you can apply some areas, okay, some dimensions and some not. Then you have shadow, where the border actually has a shadow also applied to it. Okay, now you can see in the preview that on the right and the bottom has they're a bit darker, so they have a shadow. Then you can have a dashed border, a dotted border, a straight line border, even a double line border, or some other styles as well. Okay, you can adjust the color as well. So this would be a red border, and you can adjust the weight as well. Okay, and that is how it would look like. Not the best, but just for demonstration. Then we go to shadow and we deselect some sides. This is how, by the way, we can select, okay, some sides to have a border and some not to have, and it turns that into a custom border. So you can have 3D borders as well, like this one, and that looks a bit like a frame. Okay, and you can change the color as well. The important thing to mention is that if you want your paragraph to have borders only on certain sides, okay, then instead of having a box, you can go to custom and customize it. Okay, then you can remove the top border, you can insert the top border, you can remove the bottom one as well, or the side ones. Okay, I just want top and bottom border, so there we have a custom border. Let's explore it a bit further. You can increase the spacing between the border and the text. If you change the border, you can notice that it doesn't update. So in that case, what you need to do is select a border or style, and then just remove the border and reinsert it again. Then you see it has updated according to the style you chose. Okay, and that's all about borders. Then you have a horizontal line. Okay, this type of line here, and after this last paragraph, we can insert a horizontal line, and a horizontal line extends right till the end, okay, till the right margin, and you can adjust the right margin accordingly as well. And by the way, the purpose of the horizontal line is to indicate the thematic change. There's a change in theme, okay, before and after the horizontal line. Then you can draw a table. This pretty much looks like a text box, and these two tabs, the design and the layout tab, get added automatically when you're creating a table, and you can have a table within a table. And more for tables later, not now, because tables are found in the insert tab as well. Then you have sorting, and let's explore that. We can sort a list alphabetically, like this numbered list you have here. The D would come first if you click on sort sort by paragraph, type text, and select ascending, and then okay. Then you see that, does the person I'm forwarding it to really want it? Okay, that comes first in the list, and it has been sorted. And by the way, you can also sort it in the descending order. By the way, if you sort something using that command, it wouldn't return to its former um, sequence. Okay, so if you really want to sort something, please do it at your own risk, and make sure you really want to do it, because you cannot restore your changes. Let's look at a different example. Okay, like sorting all of these paragraphs. So right up until there, we're going to select all the paragraphs, and we can see that W is the first paragraph, but W actually actually rather the first paragraph starts with W, and W is actually the one of the last few alphabets, okay, in the English um, alphabet. Then we can sort it in ascending, so alphabetical order, and what you see is a word starting with A, a paragraph starting with A on rather starts first, and then comes paragraph starting with C. Basically, it's sorted in alphabetical order, the paragraphs. So that's also a feature that can be useful. So we just undid, we just press Ctrl Z to undo. We open now the paragraph dialog box, and here you can adjust the alignment. It's just a bit more technical representation of the commands you see in the paragraph group, okay, without opening the paragraph dialog box. So you can have different levels of outline. Then you have mirror indents as well. Okay, you have a bit more commands which we haven't really explored because we don't really use them much unless you have quite a bit of a technical job or technical application for Word. Okay, then you have line and page breaks, okay, which we're gonna explore soon as well. Okay, we'll come back to that. Let's just bring your attention to tabs for now. If I click on the tab, okay, a tab, what it is basically is if I click tab, if I press tab right now and I switch on show and hide, then what you see is a number of arrows appear. Each time I click a tab, an arrow appears. Let me just start it on a new page, okay? Sometimes when you have a table of contents, okay, um, if you know what a table of contents looks like, what you have usually is that. So if you look at this table of contents, okay, you'll have contents, then you have heading, then you have a whole big dotted line, and then at the end you have one heading 2, and then a whole dotted line, and then page 1, a page number, then heading 3, a whole big long dotted line, and then the page number at the end. So between the page number and the chapter, okay, between heading 1 and the number 1, page number 1, this dotted line, okay, we're gonna create that. Okay, we're gonna create it using tab, by pressing tab. So we go to the paragraph dialog box and we click tabs, and tab stop position, basically where the line would stop. Okay, so it starts at 0 where the margin is, and it ends where the tab stop you would be placed. So if you put it at 16, the line would go right till the end, then alignment would be left. And by the way, this is the correct way how to insert a line. All right, sometimes when you, I mean, at school for example, you see a line at the end of your paper, you rule a line. This is the correct way to rule a line in Microsoft Word. Okay, so you have these type of leaders. Okay, you have none, you have number 2 would be the dotted line, you can have a dash leader, you can have a line, perfect straight underline type of straight line leader. So we're gonna go with a dotted leader, or rather actually the dotted leader is quite a common leader to use. Okay, like you saw in the table of contents, we'd go with something that's not that common, the dashed leader. So 16 would be the step position. So after you write your stop position, like I did mine to be 16 centimeters, then press set. Okay, and then make sure, then we press OK. Now you see there's a small L shaped um, tab stop or tab position at the end. So what would happen right now is if you press tab, okay, after let me just write introduction. Now I press tab, and you see a dashed line that appears, and it actually goes right till it goes to the new line, because yeah, we're just gonna make this a bit shorter so it can come back up. There we go, it's on the same line. And then we can have introduction being on page 1, then we have the next line in our table of contents being let me think about it, chapter 1. Then I press tab, and then you have page number 2. Whenever I basically press tab, you see this line appearing. Okay, that is what the tab button is. So let's go, we can go back to tabs and you can change it. Okay, if I press none, then the leader wouldn't, there wouldn't be a leader, just go to that. spot that tab position, the tab's spot. Okay, actually, okay, they didn't work because I didn't set it. So I have to actually delete the current setting and delete and make a new one. So I clear it, and then I go for 15, and I want to change the leader to a dotted, or a, yeah, a dotted leader would be better. Okay, dotted leader, and then 15 tab position and left, and then I set it first you must always set it, then press OK. Okay, now I press say chapter 2 and then tab, and then it's on page 5, and you can see the difference between the dotted and the dashed leader on top. If you want to delete this um thing that's happening, okay, so that whenever you press tab, then it doesn't make this big long line, then what you can do is select this at the tab position and press clear. Or a quicker way would be, you see that L sign, just drag it and drop it down on the page, and you see your tab is behaving normally. Okay, it doesn't go to that place at the end. Okay, like I just created it. Now you can create the tab stop by pressing on the ruler or clicking on the ruler, which is sometimes annoying if you don't know what you're doing. Then if you press it there, and whenever you press it, okay, whenever you click on the ruler, you create a tab stop. Okay, like I did right now. And this is called actually the left tab. There are other tabs as well. Okay, and they each have a purpose, and you can adjust this tab to your um to what to your where you want it to be. So if you want other tabs, not the left tabs, okay, by the way, so there are other tabs like the decimal tab, the bar tab, the left tab. When you have the left tab, so the right tab, you can see all of these tabs here by alignment. You can see there's different types of tabs called center tab, right tab, decimal, bar tab, left tab. We just by default it's the left tab. So there are different purposes for each tab, and some are used for decimals, some are used for columns in a newspaper or a magazine. Okay, then if I click there, I can change the type of tab. Now that turns into another tab called the center tab. I click center, then I can click it again, and it's the right tab right now. And this is another type of tab that appears, and this is a decimal tab. And that's all about tabs, and I suppose it's quite a bit of information to digest, but remember to practice, and thanks for watching.